Maybe questions? Yes, please.
My name is Yuri Shimko. I'm a former member of parliament and former president of the Ukrainian World Congress. Ukrainian World Congress, former president. Mr. Nemtsov, I would like to ask you the situation now with Syria and the fact that the Russian government took a position contrary to the entire world opinion, including the Security Council of the United Nations. Does he not realize that his image internally is diminishing? Why would he take such a position internationally? Can you give us an explanation as to what is behind this and what is the logic? Is it the fear that they may be losing some of the benefits of arms sales, or is it the fear of an internal dismemberment even of the Federation itself? Secondly, my second question is, a democratic Russia is the only way that we can have stability in Eastern Europe, including former republics such as Ukraine, the Baltic states, who still have great hesitation about a tendency of a renewal of an imperial concept. Can you comment on that as well?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I don't think that position of Putin concerning Syria and the resolution of the United Nations connected with military export, with weapons, etc. I think that reasons are different. First is that he believes that Assad is a beginning and the next will be Putin. This is about his own protection. He protects himself to protect Assad. He doesn't think about strategy of Russia in the Middle East. Of course, I want to tell you that Russia, of such kind of decision, lose position in the Middle East. Not only among Syrian people, but, for example, Arab League. Arab League supported resolution, Putin is against. What does it mean? We lose our influence among Arab countries, which is disaster for Russian interests, but he has no ideas about that. He thinks just about his own security. And Assad is an example. It's a first reason. Second reason is anti-American trend. What is an explanation why Russia and China is against, right? I mean, in domestic media. Explanation is America wanted to get this resolution, and we are a single in the world who are against. We are against America. We are not for Syrian people or Assad. Forget about that. Nobody knows about this name, I mean Assad, in Russia. But everybody knows that the resolution was prepared in the State Department. And we are against. That's it. That's why a propaganda machine in this campaign, that I am a symbol of anti-American fight, this machine works very hard as far as this resolution is concerned. Second, I completely agree about former Soviet influence, former Soviet republics, and a role of Russia in this area. This is a very serious question. I want to tell you that democratic Russia means absolutely friendly, absolutely peaceful, absolutely, I think, effective policy in this part of the world. And authoritarian Russia means unpredictability, very aggressive policy, very not imperialistic, I want to tell you. Yes, maybe Putin is a real Homo Sovieticus, that's true. But he has no real instrument to keep former republics in his hand. For example, if you look at the scandals and wars between Russia and Ukraine, you remember, of course, about that, right? What is his instrument? In reality, what's just pipeline, that's it, and gas. But that's not enough to keep Ukraine, that's not enough to keep Baltic Strait, that's not enough to keep everybody around. For example, he has terrible relationship with Saakashvili, with Georgia, right? And they cut pipeline at all. What's happened with Georgia? Nothing. Economic performance in this country is great. You know, this is the corruption level reduced dramatically. And you remember maybe that Georgia was the most corrupted republic in the Soviet Union. Now it looks like absolutely honest. Well, and this is a dream for Russian opposition to reduce level of Russian corruption to the Georgian level. This is our program. We are not, we don't want to get Canadian success in this point of view, or New Zealand, for example. This is my program of People's Freedom Party. Level of corruption will be like in Georgia. And nobody even laugh about that, because everybody knows that they solved this problem, right? That's why I agree that democratic Russia is stability in this region and predictability. And I know that Ukrainians, there are a lot of Ukrainians here. Well, I love Ukraine. I spend a lot of time on Ukraine, and I help Ukrainians. Unfortunately, sometimes it didn't work, but I will continue. I explain you why. Not because I am Ukrainian nationalist, no, because I believe that if Ukraine will be successful, I mean democratic Ukraine, this is a great Slavic example to be successful for Russia, right? And I think that to achieve democracy in Ukraine is easier than to do the same in Russia, because of absence of imperialistic complex, because of existence of Middle Ukraine and West Ukraine, etc. I think that success of Ukraine is absolutely crucial for future for the country. But today, one lady told me that forget about democracy in Ukraine, let's establish democracy in Russia. We are in some competition who will be the first. Anyway, I think that even in relationship with Ukraine, the most important and the most serious question is not a question of gas. It's a question of our strategical differences. Ukraine, even Yanukovych Ukraine, is democracy. With problems, with Yulia in the prison, you know, with huge corruption, with trouble inside the government, with mismanagement in the government, I know that. But Ukraine is still democracy. I just want to give you just one fact why Ukraine is democracy even now. Do you know a level of support of Yanukovych among Ukrainian people? No, 12%. If you have level of support of your president 12%, it means that this is democracy. You know, and he had 50 when it was an election. After that, he lost, especially after Yulia was in jail, and especially after his stupid decision in social sphere, in pension system, etc. But he has 12. This is democracy, with problems, huge problems, but democracy. Well, and Yulia, for example, she is in Kharkiv, but Yulia has support much more than Yanukovych. And she got 7 years in the prison, but she's more popular than Yanukovych. That's why. And Russia is, of course, a authoritarian country. That's why there is no confidence between democracy and authoritarian country. And I think that reasons why there is so big tension between Yanukovych and Putin now, big tension, include not only gas, in every aspect, lays in the fact that Yanukovych represents, maybe he doesn't like it, maybe he hates democracy, but he represents democratic country. And Putin does not. That's why contradiction and problems between countries will exist. I don't know who will be the first. Well.
Thank you and welcome to Toronto. My name is Walter Dursko. I'm the executive director of a private think tank in Toronto, the Strategic Foresight Institute. What advice can you give your opposition colleagues in other Eastern European countries like Ukraine that are also going to be going through a parliamentary election this year?
Well, we have good relationship with Ukrainian opposition. We have great relationship with Belarus opposition, and few contacts with Georgian and Baltics. But Baltics are absolutely in a different world now, because, you know, they're a member of EU, NATO, and they're thinking about economic problems, how to overcome budget crisis, etc. Well, that's why the key for us, our relationship with Ukrainians and with Belarus. Belarus, unfortunately, there are a lot of great guys inside. Anatoly Lebedko, for example, he's my very close friend, and Alexander Dobrovolsky, he's a friend of mine too. But unfortunately, they are in a so terrible position with so huge repression from Lukashenko's side that they have no chance, to come back to even so-called elections, And if we talk about perspective for Putin, Russia, I want to tell you that if Putin will get or will proclaim that he get 70 or more %, it means that Putin wants to be Lukashenko. And Lukashization of Russia is one of the realistic perspective for the country. That's why reduction of support of Putin is absolutely crucial to avoid, to escape repression and to escape dictatorship Belarusian style. Well, how we can help each other? It's difficult to answer because as far as I understand, we just organize political support to political prisoners in Belarus, and we did everything. For example, we organized a rally in front of Belarus embassy, international support we organize for people who are in the prison. Well, unfortunately, some of them are free now, which is great. As far as Ukraine is concerned, the most dramatic situation happened with Yulia Tymoshenko. Well, I am not an advocate of Tymoshenko. I criticize Tymoshenko very much because of her populistic decisions in nationalization of economy, fixing prices, etc. Well, but now I want to tell you about Yulia, that she is in the prison because of contract with Putin. Imagine Putin is in Kremlin, Tymoshenko is in prison for the same reason. Because they signed contract of 2009, it was a gas contract. She's in jail not because of corruption, not because she's, excuse me, maybe Yulia? No, my daughter Janna, not Yulia. Well, and she's in jail because of a contract with Putin. 7 years. That's why, of course, it was 100% political motivated decision. Yanukovych is very afraid of Yulia, very afraid. His rating is less than Yulia. And this year it will be parliamentary election in Ukraine. That's why Yanukovych is very nervous to keep power and to get some opportunity to continue his presidency. That's why I think that to support Yulia is what I must do, and I believe that Ukrainian community here understand that. Well, what else? There are some attempts in Ukraine to establish censorship, but it doesn't work. I took part always in Shuster program, which is live, in Evgeny Kiselev program in Ukraine, which is live. And it's difficult to repeat Putin story for Yanukovych. Maybe Yanukovych dreams to be like Ukrainian Putin, but he has no chance. Because Ukrainian people strongly differ from Russian. They don't like, Tsar. They don't understand what does it mean. They have history of freedom and fighting for freedom, struggling for freedom. That's why Yanukovych wants to be Putin, but he will fail, I'm sure. Anyway, I think that coalition between opposition in our countries are very important, and we will continue that.
To the entire world opinion, including the Security Council of the United Nations, does he not realize that his image internally is diminishing? Why would he take such a position internationally? Can you give us an explanation as to what is behind this and what is the logic? Is it the fear that they may be losing some of the benefits of arms sales, or is it the fear of an internal dismemberment even of the Federation itself? And
Yeah.
secondly, my second question is, a democratic Russia is the only way that we can have stability in Eastern Europe, including former republics such as Ukraine, the Baltic states,
etc. I think that reasons are different. First is that he believes that Assad is a beginning and the next will be Putin. This is about his own protection. He protects himself to protect Assad. He doesn't think about strategy of Russia in the Middle East. Of course,
we still have great hesitation about a tendency of a renewal of an imperial concept. Can you comment on that as well?
First of all, I don't think that position of Putin concerning Syria and the resolution of the United Nations connected with military export, with weapons. Maybe questions? Yes, please.
My name is Yuri Shimko. I'm a former member of parliament and former president of the Ukrainian World Congress. Ukrainian World Congress, former president. Mr. Nemtsov, I would like to ask you the situation now with Syria and the fact that the Russian government took a position contrary